So this issue doesn't pick up on Earth. No, it picks up above Earth in space, as we see a couple very interesting events happen very rapidly. Because previously the entire Justice League has been defeated, their heroes laid waste, their Justice League satellite destroyed and blown to pieces, as we see evidence of that. Pieces not only drifting in space, but coming back down onto Earth. And one of those objects coming back to Earth aren't a piece of the satellite, no, it's something far more deadly and dangerous. As we see something hurtling towards the Earth in the shape of a black pod, some type of crystal. And as it lands, we see one figure emerge. A figure powerful enough, strong enough, that this entity single-handedly defeated and obliterated the Justice League, which had some heavy hitters such as the Flash, Superman, Green Lantern, etc. But not only that, but even more importantly, we see that some of his members have been taken over, such as the world's finest duo, Batman and Superman. Individually, some of the most powerful and or cunning individuals on Earth, but now together, under the control of this dark figure, there is no telling what evil will be bestowed onto Earth, because now the world's finest duo has turned against the world and everybody on it, as they are being controlled by Eclipso himself. Yes, you know, the same Eclipso who at his peak power rivals the Spectre and wants nothing more than Earth to fall. But now moving over to the Batcave, we see Robin. Because all over the news, all there is the Justice League satellite being destroyed and blown up in the sky. He worries that his friends, his other heroes, and Batman may not be safe. And of course his worries aren't unfounded, as suddenly he hears something and all the power goes off, as he looks up and sees Superman and Batman themselves, corrupted by Eclipso's magic. And you might be saying to yourself, yeah, it's Superman, it's obvious why someone would want to take him over, but why Batman? Physically he's just a normal man, which is true, but this normal man has tech, knowledge, resources that can rival even someone with powers as great as Superman. And now, of course, being bolstered by Eclipso's powers, he is potentially one of the most dangerous people on Earth now, with Robin even making note of such as he is blasted back by Batman attacking him, saying, "This is the last thing the world needs, Batman with magical powers." But we see why the duo here are really at the Batcave. They needed access to Batman's supercomputer. And of course, leaving Robin alone after discarding him because apparently he is beneath their notice, they eventually find what they are looking for, or should I say Eclipso finds what he's looking for, and they set off. As Robin also sets off now that he knows what's going on to find some help, because they are going to need some big and powerful hitters for the problems that are coming soon. And we start to see a little bit why. Moving back over to Solar City, we see Eclipso meet up with his favorite host, who he renames Loomis, Prince of Light, because Eclipso has had an epiphany, if you will. Because you see, in his rage, he used poor judgment. He found out and figured that these superheroes are more useful as tools than they are corpses. Superman being one in particular. Because right now, Eclipso has one very specific goal: global domination and rule. And now not only armed with his own powers, the powers and abilities of Superman and Batman, with Bruce Gordon who has some sort of subsection of Eclipso's powers, it is really looking like, even with all of Earth's heroes, Eclipso's claim to global domination isn't so far-fetched. But as you may know, Earth, maybe more than any other planet in the DC universe, is home to some of the most powerful people. As we move over to the Justice Society, where we see a little evidence of that with some heavy hitters of their own, Dr. Fate, Green Lantern, Hawkman, Jay Garrick Flash, as they all sit around and plan what to do next because they are aware of what is going on with the Justice League, how their satellite has blown up and Eclipso has taken over. But thankfully nobody has seemed to be killed, only imprisoned, as Dr. Fate reveals that they are trapped and imprisoned somewhere in the Sahara Desert. But things are starting to look even more dire for the heroes as just then Robin arrives, telling them more of what is going on. How not only have Batman and Superman become puppets of Eclipso, but at the Batcave, he saw Batman hacking into NASA files for a list of all of the communication satellites on Earth, or floating above Earth in space, I guess. But the reason why this is important is because Eclipso plans to destroy them all, throw the world into chaos, because with limited communication, no GPS, thousands of airplanes crashing, emergency services collapse, utilities, hospitals, the global economy, it's all chaos. And with someone with Superman speed at Eclipso's disposal, he can get it all done in a blink of an eye if he wanted. So right now this powerful team of heroes, the Justice Society, has to work fast, so they split up. One team goes for Batman and the other goes for Superman. And the third team goes to see if they can free up the other captured Justice League. And if the heroes can't work fast enough, many people are going to die. Because as you cut straight over to Gotham City, where we see Barbara and Commissioner Gordon trying to alert and draw Batman in, because we know he has been captured by Eclipso, everybody else believes and thinks there's a possibility that the Justice League have died. But unfortunately, we see a fate worse than that for at least Batman and Superman. Because Batman, in a horrifying shot, comes floating down from the sky, not only saying that Batman, you know, is gone, but for them to pray for their city. because Eclipso has plans for Gotham City, and having Batman as a host, the once protector of Gotham could perhaps become its greatest villain, as using his newfound gifted powers, Batman uses it to pick up the bat signal, getting ready to crush and flatten Barbara and Commissioner Gordon. But fortunately, he is stopped just in time as one of the Justice Society teams come rushing in. But of course, as powerful as they may be, they are nowhere powerful enough to stand up to Eclipso, so they are only really here to distract as they call in the big guns. As we see the cavalry arrive, the Spectre himself. But still, even with this giant powerhouse on the battlefield now, Batman, or Eclipso, literally just laughs in his face, because Batman goes on to say that bringing the Spectre is an empty gesture, because Eclipso's magic and powers are every bit as strong as his, which even the Spectre himself confirms and say is true. This is why the Spectre came with a plan, because this isn't a situation that he can just brute ways force through. You know, he can't just beat Eclipso out of Batman. Batman has to willfully give up control. But that's the hard part, because we see just how buried Batman really is, because the Spectre goes on to say the fate of the planet itself is at stake. If Eclipso is left to run rampant with you as his minion, Batman, millions, no, perhaps billions will die. And you know what Batman says to this? He simply says with a smile, at least. And so with this confirmation, realizing that Eclipso's hold on Batman is too strong, he tells Batman that there is too much at risk and how he leaves him no other choice. As the Spectre goes on to use his powers, grabbing Robin and seemingly snapping his neck, killing him on the spot. As Batman, even though he is possessed and controlled by Eclipso, has to watch Robin die right in front of his eyes. And this traumatic event is so strong. The emotions bubbling through Batman are so great that this event is what pushes Batman to dispel Eclipso's control over him, as he yells out in utter agony, rushing over to Robin to see if he's okay. But of course, this was all within Spectre's plan, as he goes on to explain his reasoning, how he dove beyond darkness, because he could sense Batman's soul fighting within its depths, but unfortunately he was unable to free it, so therefore he used an illusion to provoke its emergence, the illusion of Robin dying. As we find out, Robin, while shaken up a bit, is relatively fine. Now, even though they had to use drastic measures, this solves one problem. Batman is now free and back in his own control. But that not only leaves the Justice League captured and defeated, but Superman under Eclipso's control. As we move over to space, up above in Earth's orbit, where we see Doctor Strange and Jay Garrick Flash come to confront Superman as he is busy destroying satellites, sending the world in utter chaos. And as they arrive to defeat Superman, we see Jay Garrick ask Dr. Fate if he can simply overpower him, which Dr. Fate taking Superman in a one-on-one straight up battle might be feasible and isn't totally out of the question. What do you guys think though? Let me know in the comments. Do you think Dr. Fate could overpower and defeat Superman? Because, you know, he is vulnerable to magic and Dr. Fate is, well, a very powerful magic user. Then again, Superman has defeated very powerful beings before, even those imbued with magic on the tier of Dr. Fate, or possibly even stronger. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this matchup. But even so, we see Dr. Fate say that yes, even though his Kryptonian side is vulnerable to magic, the Eclipso part within him isn't. And so right now, Jay Garrick, you are our secret weapon here. Superman comes rushing in to attack, and Dr. Fate doing his best to defend, he tells Jay Garrick to run, as he creates a magical space runway for Jay Garrick to use his super speed effectively. Of course, being in space where you can't just run on the ground, we see a giant runaway chase go ahead. And now with Jay Garrick, of course, being within the Flash family and imbued with the Speed Force, he is pretty fast. Unfortunately though, Superman is just as fast, if not faster, as he is catching up and gaining on Jay Garrick. Because unfortunately for Jay, he isn't someone named Barry Allen or Wally West. You know, while Jay Garrick is plenty fast, the man is still just might be faster. As Jay Garrick tries his best, runs as fast as he can, Superman is just a hair away from getting his hands on him. Fortunately enough, this was all within Dr. Fate's plan. As while Superman is distracted on Jay Garrick, he uses his time to conjure up a very powerful magical blast, hitting Superman at just the right trajectory and angle, sending and carrying him into one specific place. Yes, the sun. Because Eclipso is a thing of shadow, and mystically speaking, the most effective way to dispel darkness is to burn it away. As Superman gets closer to the sun's enveloping warmth, we see slowly but surely Eclipso's hold on him starts to burn away. Because as he gets more powerful, his will becomes stronger, the Eclipso within him becomes weaker. As Superman heads straight into the sun, getting ready for a little bit of a sunbathe, and he is going to need it, as because this next threat of Eclipso, they are going to need all the power and help they can get. And with those two issues done, that only leaves the issue of just one more thing, the Justice League, as they are still trapped within the giant crystal at the Sahara Desert, with the League inside up and trying to escape, but nothing is working. The Flash can't vibrate through, and not even Green Lantern, using his ring, one of the most powerful forces in the universe, he isn't able to penetrate through the shield. But fortunately enough, once more, the Justice League aren't alone as the Justice Society arrives on the scene, with specifically Alan Scott showing up. And here we see the two Lanterns use their rings to create a pinpoint location, as the feedback from these two very powerful weapons seem to be cutting through. But Eclipso has planned for this. He planned for the other heroes of Earth to try and save the Justice League, so this magical rock that is imprisoning them also served as bait, as its magical properties start to envelop Alan Scott, pulling him in and going to trap him as well. And so seeing they're in a very drastic situation, Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, seems to be the key to finally freeing them, as he goes on to taunt Hal Jordan, asking him, are you really going to let Eclipso win, while calling him a lightweight and a quitter. And of course, with Green Lantern having an abundance of will, he needed just that one tiny push, that one assistance to get him through the threshold and use all of his available strength to shatter the entire thing, not only saving Alan Scott, but freeing the Justice League. And now that is the third thing down. Superman went into the sun to free himself of Eclipso, Batman using a traumatic experience to snap him out of Eclipso's hold, and now the Justice League are free from Eclipso's prison. Things are finally looking up for the heroes, and with Dr. Fate coming and scooping the rest of the heroes up, we see them all join together on Eclipso's position. All of them, every hero, the Justice League and the Justice Society. With all of the heroes in their right mind and good health, we are gearing up for one giant battle, as they finally have Eclipso cornered, thinking they are going to win, in which realistically they should, right? They have some very powerful people, Dr. Fate, Superman, the Spectre. This should be a very easy cleanup, or so you might think, because as we look over to Eclipso and Bruce Gordon, Eclipso's main host, we see them not even worried. They have smiles on their face as they point their weapons towards the Justice League, instantly defeating and immobilizing them within a blink of an eye. That easy, showing that whatever power he was gaining puts him on a completely different level than all of the heroes here, as Eclipso goes on to tell his subordinate Bruce Gordon that they have so much more to accomplish elsewhere, showing that the heroes are going to need a miracle to get through this and defeat this giant now Eclipso threat. But of course we will see how they get through this in the next issue as this one comes to a close. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, or subscribe if you're new and want to see more of this type of content. As always, this was the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.